we are in the auditorium for the secret event.
So how do we know about it?
Everyone knows about it apart from one person, which is Space.
So we're starting with something, it's 30 years ago where Dogfa has started his business, and they're celebrating it in the Bungalow today with a poster, and we're now going for something totally different. I give the microphone to, who's first? You making pictures of me? Yes, thank you. Thank you, Nick Batt is making pictures, taking pictures for me, friendly-wise. We're talking about something completely different first. Who's taking over? There was two guys who wanted to talk. Oh, hello. Ah, it's you. Okay, you got microphone?
Yeah, we have microphone.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. You take it over. That's I'll come back later. I'll leave my microphone here.
Just
Thank you very much. Short excuse.
Yeah, it's great to see everybody here. Superbooth 2025. It's already an amazing show. We are going to take you back very briefly to 1995, when Windows 95 came out, Alta Vista came out, the film Toy Story came out. There's something else happened in 1995 that we are all connected with, and something that we all love, almost as much as we love those other things. And that's Sonic State. Yeah.
Sonic State started. We all know this Sonic very well. And it was from very humble beginnings that Nick and Andy started the website SonicState.com. I think they were selling t-shirts, is that right? To start, something like that. And then they started covering music technology. And that's why we're all here, right?
Yeah, so we're all here to say thank you to Sonic State. We're all fans of Sonic State. Nick and Andy, the two guys that started Sonic State. Nick's here, Andy's back in the UK. Nick knew nothing about this, by the way, so we planned this huge event.
It's not live! It's not
Us and all of the community here wanted to do something to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Sonic State, because we're all huge fans still, and we love what you do. So, Andres is going to come on stage and say a few words.
Come back and say a few words. Yeah.
I first of all make a picture of Nick, Wonderful, thank you. Normally, I saw this celebration of Quincy Jones in the television, and Quincy was sitting next to the stage there, shaking hands a little bit. But I know this is not your taste, sitting here on stage. If you want, there's a few places, but...
I'll come up.
Congratulations. Yeah, take this. And I'm happy to have you here. This is Nick Batt. We started together with Andy, who's unfortunately not here, but Andy and Nick was popping up on Superbooth. If it's 30 years, I don't remember the first years, but I remember that you popped in 2003 or 2004 or something like that. And you've been saying, hey, what's going on here? What's new? And I took you around I was in the mood of being on speed. I wasn't on speed, but I was like on adrenaline. And
we all thought you were.
You all thought, yeah, okay. And you said, what's new? And then every year since, I think, was it 2002 already when we had this?
In Frankfurt.
You take a microphone, because I think the people would like to see it. Because
In Frankfurt.
yes, take it nearer.
Music lesson.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you had the Superbooth, which was a booth that was a Superbooth because it was more than one. That was kind of it, right?
Yeah, indeed, and it's still, But the start was in 2002, indeed. It was very, in 2001, I already had a stand, but I can't remember if you was there because I was completely, the whole time I was in an Absinth-Rausch with sparkling wine, because I invited everybody to Absinth, and then not even instruments on the booth. I don't know if you ever...
I don't remember. I think we probably were at Frankfurt, but maybe if you didn't have anything worth looking at, then we probably didn't.
Anyway, year after year, Nick and Andy came in had the latest technical version of a wonderful camera equipment and said, hey, come on, what's new? And I took them around and tried to give an entertaining, quick walkthrough and this Mr. Dörfer, he has this new, and this is Mr. Ramona having this new, and this is Mr. And I ran around with them, and they was running behind me with a camera. I was like, okay, this way, and then I know something else over here, and I had the impression that this was very entertaining for them, in opposite to all those people saying, yeah, this is my new, and didn't you read the manual or whatever? Because there was a lot of boring exhibitors those years, and we won the race with having it small with alcohol and good entertainment, and I thought we should do to the media. And what I think the topic of this and what the core is, that I learned from you that this is the way we have to go, because I didn't know nothing about internet. My computer is only writing invoices, nothing else. And so I my latest music computer was an Atari 1040 FM, still is. And from you I learned how important it is to have your kind of media with us, and I'm very happy that you're still here, still doing it. You're our main and our oldest media partner, and that's why I would like to congratulate, and we will see a few more videos. To let all those nowadays Superbooth people understand what this was and what they did, I hope that your buddies from Sonic State did prepare some smart videos. First of all,
I have to say, first of all, congratulations. I have absolutely no idea this was happening. I'm guessing doing that, so well done. Very, very well discovered.
So I have a little surprise for you.
Okay.
And I think that's good to surprise you. I will, as always, improvise a bit and pull something in. Perhaps you can make some pictures again.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And hold that microphone, even if you have another one. Yes, and now you have to make the pictures. Media! Okay, Adam starts. There's no sound. Are you ready? You have to clap and sing. Oh, that's a song. One, two, three. Happy birthday.
Wow, that was my photo was terrible. I'm not a photographer. Okay, we've got some more stuff for you. I'm Matt, by the way, and it's been a real pleasure doing videos on Sonic State over the years. And there's a lot of people who's participated over the years as well. And we're going to show some of them on the screen for you, Andy. This was your life. This was your life. Roll VT.
Drop in 4 kicks.
Yeah, so then press play.
So that's slow.
Making years, this video is 10 years old already, and you've been doing this for 30 years. It's amazing. This is a classic because it marked the beginning of our Retro Kids adventure. Without it, we probably would have made all the other stuff we did afterwards. So Massive thanks, and I hope you'll be doing this for lots of years to come, covering the greatest in music technology and Sonic State.
Hey guys, BT here. I want to say congratulations to Sonic State. For 30 years, that's crazy. 30 years of great talks about synthesis. You guys have had such a profound impact on the synthesis community, and I've had so much fun coming on there. I can't wait to do some more. Congratulations to you guys. I hope you're surprised. This is a surprise, apparently coming from a lot of us synth nerds, so it's well deserved. You guys have had such a tremendous impact on so many people in such a positive way, so congratulations.
Yes.
See you guys.
Hi, Roger Lynn here with a few words about Sonic State. Sonic State is rare in the quality, thoroughness, and fairness of their gear reviews, something I appreciate as a maker of music products. The bottom line is that I trust Nick and Sonic State. And on a personal note, one of my most valued awards is Sonic State's Top Chap Award, which they finally gave me in 2017. So I, and I'm sure musicians around the world, offer my thanks to Nick and to Sonic State.
Dave Rossum here. Happy 30th birthday, Sonic State. Just wanted to tell you how much fun I have getting together at all the various events and trade shows throughout the world. Our interviews are always insightful, we ask really interesting questions, and we usually get in a few good laughs as well. Here's hoping we can both keep it up for the next 30 years. Take care.
So 5 or 6 years ago, I met Nam, and I'm looking at the Hydrosynth for the first time because it was just announced. It was a big deal, and I had headphones on, and I was playing with it, and one of the booth employees started aggressively tapping me on the shoulder and was trying to very politely and assertively get me to clear up the area and just move out of the way. And so I take off my headphones, and I turn around, and there he was, Nick Batt, with his entourage of professionals getting ready to film. And I was honestly kind of like, oh, okay, starstruck. A few years later, I had a conversation with Nick in person, and he was extremely pleasant, insightful, and every single time that I've seen him since then, he's been extremely busy. The amount of work and grinding that this team does to bring you unbiased information about a very deep novelty is frankly astounding. And because of that, they've been able to do something that very, very few creators on social media have been able to do. Earn our trust. It sounds cheesy, but Sonic State is a compass for this entire industry, and we would be a lot worse off without their work. So Nick and everybody in the Sonic State team, congratulations on 30 years. You could have started a major, successful international drug cartel in that time. And I don't really know if you would be happier had you done that, or why I even use that as an example. Thanks for your service.
Hello, Sonic State, Jason from Nobula here, wishing you a happy 30th birthday, 30 years. Wow, I can't believe you've been doing it so long. Thank you so much for all the amazing videos you've done for so many years. I still don't know how you mashed them out so quickly. But anyway, it's been an amazing journey, and I look forward to the many more years that we can work together. So yeah, Andy, Nick, happy birthday to Sonic State. See you later.
Chaps, 30 years of Sonic State, wow. Just a massive thank you for everything you've done for me. I mean, you've written about pretty much everything I've done in the last decade or so. So massive thank you for the support, and you know, I cannot imagine what this industry would be like without everything you've done for all of us. So huge congratulations, huge thanks. On to the next 30.
Hey Nick and Andy, happy 30th anniversary celebration. I'm so happy you guys made it this far. And I want to tell you, you have a very unique publication, unlike any others. And my special story is when I was in Superbooth last year with Dante, attempting to maybe catch a couple stories with our phone, you know, in a little rig that we had. We weren't even close. You had the stories out within 5 minutes of the product being put out or whatever was going on. So I think we've given up on that. We're going to bow down to Sonic State and just look forward to another 30 years of watching you guys doing such great work. So congratulations again, and looking for more great stuff from you.
Hey Nick, let's make some music, okay? We're getting old, we have to hurry up. Let's start now and enjoy your life.
Hello, my name is Robbie Rambo, otherwise known as Scanner.
And I've been following the adventures of Sonic State for many years now, and tune in, to be honest, almost every day to check on updates about new technologies, new tales, and especially tutorials where Nick and his team dig deep into the technologies and advancements to make us all wonderful musicians today. So here's to many more years and thriving, fun games ahead for everyone. Bye.
If you walk around a trade show, it's absolutely commonplace to see people with cameras shoved in the faces of poor hapless people demonstrating gear. But Nick and Sonic State crew were the first to do it, and I think are still now like the gold standard of reporting an event then and there when it involves synths. And of course, the review videos, I think, are the very model of professional, comprehensive reporting with a objective standpoint. That is to say that Nick and Co are still doing it like Sound on Sound might do it, for example, where you review a thing with a loan model, it goes back to the manufacturer afterwards, and you maintain this sort of impartiality so that you can truly do a review. I think Nick and Co are the only ones that work that way, as far as I'm aware, and are still the gold standard. So, well done. And here's to another 30 years, or a happy retirement at some point. Bye.
30 years of Sonic State. That makes me feel old, because I've been using that site ever since I got into synthesizers sometime in the 1990s. The first time I met Nick, I didn't even dare approach him. It was at the very first Superbooth backstage, and while I was munching on a Käsebrötchen, he was editing and uploading videos they had just filmed. And I was amazed by the work ethos and amount of energy it takes to keep Sonic State running. Congrats, everybody.
Hey, Sonic State, happy 30th anniversary. We love geeking out on audio with you, and seeing what kinds of audio challenges you can throw our way.
Hello to everyone at Superbooth. I hope you're having a great start to the show, and congratulations to Nick and Andy and everyone involved at Sonic State for going all these years. It's amazing. It's been such a great and valuable resource for everybody, behind the scenes, users, community, musicians. Sonic Talk's been such a great weekly kind of hangout, kind of point to bring everybody together. It's been a real pleasure to be involved in some projects and Sonic Talk, and I'm really excited for what's to come in future years. Long may Sonic State continue, and Sonic Talk, and thank you for all the support and good that you do for the community. Bye for now.
Nick, Andy, and everyone at Sonic State, congratulations from all of us at GeForce on reaching the 30-year milestone. Not an easy feat, but everything you've done over the years has been exemplary. And from a personal perspective, two of the nicest guys I've ever met, and I'm proud to call you friends. So keep up the good work, and hopefully I'll see you on the podcast in the not too distant future. All the best.
30 years of Sonic State, congratulations! Let's celebrate this anniversary by giving you a quick Sonic State memoranda. The OG, the drive face, gear acquisition syndrome, Sonic Talk, what happens at NAMM stays at NAMM, Cave, the secret double life, PWM, here's Nicky, Gasception. Thank you so much for being the living legends that you are. Without you, I would probably be reviewing underwear.
The one with the two girls. That was a friend of ours, Catherine, a friend of my partner, who I'd like to thank massively for putting up with her being perhaps less important than her job at times. Yeah, she said, hey, go and have your photo taken, it'll be really funny. Do you ever regret those moments? I think that is probably one of the ones I think. But honestly, thank you so much, and thanks to everybody who put this together. I feel kind of a bit overwhelmed, and to see so many people here. I mean, when you just, you're in it, you just do it, and you don't necessarily think about why, but you just get on with it. But I'd really like to thank Andy, sadly can't be with us this time, but has been, my partner in crime for, gosh, all of those 30 years.
and all the people that have helped and been involved, and non-Eric, great scene, or Hans, I don't know what I should call you anymore. And lovely to see you. Thanks for a lovely rendition of the Stevie Wonder track. That's excellent. I tried to get the mic over to you, but the song finished before I could. But yeah, Matt, thank you, and Chris and Ed, you crafty devils. We've been cooking this up for a while. But yeah, thank you.
Well, actually, Nick, there's a little bit more.
Oh no.
I know we've had a busy day running around with video cameras and we're both starving. I know that. But yeah, there's a young chap who's going to come up and have a little chat with you for a little bit.
Okay.
If that's okay. Let's welcome to the stage, shall we? This gentleman here.
How does that feel then, Nick? How does that?
Well, it's weird hearing the word, another 30 years, and also that's the first time I've ever heard the retirement word.
Oh, that's going to be my last question. So
that was kind of, it wasn't, so that was weird.
That is a question. I mean, like, all right. So, and where does it start? You've got 30 years of time. That's a lifetime of work for some people. And I suppose the question is, how does it feel? Like looking back on all that.
It feels like no time at all, to be honest. I mean, it's really, and also a lot of the people that featured there have been people that we spoke to, over the years. Obviously, there's people that we've lost as well, which is obviously very sad. So you kind of don't think about the time. It's interesting when everything is so documented. It's sort of it's like a fresh memory because you always refer to it, so it's always still there. So yeah, I don't know. 30 years, it doesn't feel like 30 years, which is that's what you do, right? Isn't it?
We want it to feel like you probably don't think about it. But you've interviewed Bob Moe, and I mean, you have tapes of Bob Moe, right? Like
yeah, that's my first proper interview. I was terrified.
Tell me that. What was that?
I think it was at NAMM in about in the 90s sometime. No, can't have been, because we didn't go until 2000, so there you go. Memory's going, obviously.
Were you the first to do that? Were there anyone else with a video camera on a NAMM floor at that time? There were.
Does anyone remember NAMM TV? With, there was NAMM TV.
Was it?
NAMM TV was the in-house TV channel, which I don't think exists anymore. And I forget the name of the lady presenter, but she looked increasingly less interested as the year went on.
But you were the ones uploading it to the internet.
Yeah, that was tough. Part of what keeps me interested is figuring out how to do this. I mean, it was very kind of Andreas to say cutting edge, but actually it would be cutting edge if on a budget. It's like cutting edge without spending any money is actually the truth of it. So you figure out, right, I mean, we could have broadcast systems and a satellite truck, but obviously that's not likely to happen. So you figure out a way to do it alternatively. So
I believe Sonic State was originally started as a kind of, you said it was like news and sports. Was that right? Was there sports?
No, there wasn't. We had there was a few of us who first met up. There was myself, Neil Slateford, who was my musical partner at the time, and Dave Brown and Andy. We had a guy called Eric, and they were all really interested in just coming up with ideas. So we had lots of ideas. And one of them was fantasy A&R, because fantasy football was really big at that time. There was another one called World of Cheese, which is actually quite topical now because of cheesy disco, but this was actually about actual cheese. So we had loads of ideas, and then it just whittled down to
threw a lot of cheese at the wall.
Yeah.
And so what stuck with them? There was music was part of the music here.
Yeah.
Or was it music? And then it was gear.
It was interesting. It was more. It was more those sort of bizarre side hustles. And then when I started to look into synthesizers, there was a guy called Andrew Cross who used to run the synthesizer database. It was called Synthesite many years ago, and it went offline. And he ran it as a university project. And I just emailed him one day and said, "Oh, where is it?" And he said, "I can't do it anymore. I finished my course. Here it is." So I then figured out how to extract the information out and publish it on a web, in the interweb in a different format. So that sort of started.
Yeah,
it going down that route.
Can you talk a little bit about your top 10 hit?
Yes, which one?
Seems shades a little. I mean, I'm thinking of Tom's Diner, perhaps.
Okay.
The one that people might, I shouldn't say the one people will remember. They'll remember them all.
Well, it came up this week actually because I'm here in Berlin with my partner and a friend of ours, and they're doing the sightseeing, and they sent a photo of a picture of Susan Vega on the Berlin Wall. Wow. And it sort of came up again because it's not Marlene on the wall, it's Susanna on the wall. Well, that was it was an a cappella track. We sampled the a cappella track because there was no music in it, just straight off the CD. Fed it in gradually into an ACI S900 in the bits that you could, what you could fit in memory. It was a cappella, there was no tempo information, so I then I used pitch bending the gaps in the samples to bring all the words further and closer together till it was on the beat, printed it to 4-track, put the loop together, and then,
You added like a beat.
added a beat and added some music, and then it was released as a white label, as just a sort of idea. And I went to work at Glastonbury. I used to work as a stage manager at the acoustic stage at Glastonbury. And when I got back, my answer phone was going crazy, and it'd been played on Radio 1, which is a UK national radio station, and they never used to play bootlegs or white labels.
Right.
This one DJ did, and it just went massive, and that was that.
What, charted like 5? Was it in the UK?
Number 2. We were beaten to the number 1 spot by the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think it's fair.
Nick is still a fair
competition.
I might have bought that. I'm sorry.
It was very close, I heard.
I was the kid. Tell me about the big changes that you've witnessed over a 30-year time. I mean, you've literally been there since not the early days. NAM's been going for
Valves.
Valves. Oh my god. But what for you? What do you think about when you think about 30 years of time from what you've covered, all of this, both the technology and yourself?
It's interesting when I think the actual basis of good electronics and good instruments hasn't changed. There are those basic principles. You still have to kind of do something that makes something exciting. And for me, the big changes have been the technology to deliver the information. So from whether that's making it, we used to record in tape, we had to digitise it. And so we started off at whatever the highest resolution we could get at the time, and ended up at I think it was 240p.
Were you using real media?
Real media, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like the power. Yeah. And then as bandwidth became available, I guess YouTube was probably the biggest change from that point of view. And just because the internet was already happening, and the thing that sort of fascinated me about being able to self-publish like that, because prior to this I've been working on big album projects or CD-ROMs, which used to take years. So I wanted something that was a short creative cycle, so you could just do it and it was done and then it was there. So I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Well, kind of. But also, you used to do this with High 8, right? And you would digitize it and then you would edit it, and would you upload it then and there?
No, what we used to do is digitize it, squish it down to real media, send it back to the office, where someone would come in the morning and edit it as 240p video, and then they would upload it. So sometimes, I think where we got our reputation for being a fast turnaround was a couple of times we did some videos at NAM, and the next day people saw their video online, and they were like, how did that happen?
Now talk to me about the setup now. How do you do it now?
Well, now it's just, we went to mobile phones, so we've been through all the kind of high-end cameras, DSLR and all that sort of thing, so now we just go to mobile phones, because the main thing is the autofocus when you're doing our style of work, which is you're interviewing and the camera person at the same time. It has to be able to cope with stuff, mostly. And we haven't got time to be a photographer.
It doesn't really matter, does it? But it's good in mobile phones are good.
Exactly. And then you can upload from the phone.
They also can.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the magic. You seem to upload live then and there, and then it's on the internet, almost like
it goes back. It goes to the cloud. Somebody downloads it, and then Ben and Chris and Andy are doing that at the very moment. Yeah, videos up on Google Drive, and they're downloading it, editing videos, uploading it, and there's an automated system that helps streamline the process. What I get joy out of is tweaking, making a system that means here's this, and at the other end is this. All you need to do is change a few things, and it's ready to go.
You're secretly a tinkerer. Well, not
totally. I run all the IT stuff and program and all that sort of stuff as well.
Tell me about interview technique. This is something that I could definitely do with some help.
Well, I think you always learn, don't you? Because I mean, people are always telling me not to talk over other people. But I think the thing is because of my involvement in pop music for so many years, I have this sort of tendency for brevity. So it's like, if I think someone's going on too long, I think this video can't be an hour, it needs to be closer to 20 minutes, so I need to interject, and maybe that's something I could relax a bit, long form. But the rest of it is just, I think, if you can be conversational and you're comfortable on a camera, then you almost don't need to prepare. You know, I mean, I try to, but you know, quite often you can just have a conversation with somebody. If you know enough about the world and then you know, you can just make something happen because it's a natural conversation. And people respond to that. Anything, as soon as you try and script anything or make it too structured, the magic goes, and you need to be a professional actor or whatever to be able to pull it off convincingly. So don't do that.
I've been in your studio and done videos with you as well. And you do them as what we call a wanna. Like when you go into like Sonic Towers to do a video, you're in the light, you're on the lights, a lot of setup, you're in a big pink lighting room and stuff. I'm going to ask you about the setup in a second. I can see you're changing cameras and stuff. But yeah, you just do it as a one-take thing. You sort of flow. Because I think what people respond to, what people look for is personality and humanity. You have seemed to project a humble, self-effacing sort of personality on the camera, and I think people are comfortable in your presence, and that's sort of, you must get this a lot of shows, obviously, where people come up to you like, oh, I did. Nice to see you again.
I mean,
like they know you.
No, but that's a natural way that things happen when people see your face and you don't see their face, and it's the same thing. But I suppose because I can relax and I can drive the thing, you want to make it stressful. You don't want to make the person nervous and think, oh my God, I can't mess this up. But that's often what happens. They come in with a predefined idea of what they want to do, and they explain it to you, and you think, yeah, that's exactly. Because you're going to have to remember all of these things. You're going to have to remember all the points your boss said to say about marketing. Tell me what you need to, and then I sometimes, or most of the time at least, I can hold that in my head and guide them through it, so that when they finish, they go, oh yeah, we said all those things, but in a different way than I'd anticipated.
This then leads me to the question of what are the most chaotic interviews that you've ever conducted?
They're usually difficult artists.
Okay.
People who don't want to be on camera, and you just think, well, what on earth are you here for then? You're wasting everybody's time. I get angry about that. And maybe internally.
I mean, who would you name names? Come on, like,
I'm not doing that. But,
well, nervous people is the other thing.
Nervous people are hard to deal with, but it's the same if you're a recording artist or you run a studio and you get someone come in and they just can't catch it because they're too nervous. Singers, sometimes just can't perform. It's your job to try and to unlock how to. I have resorted to spirits. Just have a drink. Once or twice. Because I'm continually drinking.
I was going to say, I don't remember that.
As long as there's some left.
Yeah, that was the scotch. I remember the sandwiches, but what about, good interviews then? And are there any that you sort of, where you think, shit, that actually happened, I caught this?
Yeah, I think there have been some real good, also you do ones that you think are really kind of monumental. Dave, the one that we did with Underworld about the Olympics opening ceremony, I just thought that was amazing. I was thinking, wow, that's going to get millions of views. But it felt really, there's so much really interesting information about working on an event like that. It's a huge spectacle, the London Olympics, the opening ceremony. And there was another guy I just interviewed. God, I wish I could remember his name. He's an LA programmer / producer, works with loads of different people, and he was just sort of giving some really good insight into stuff. There's so many people who've got great things to say. It's just, that's the main thing.
I did read that recently, that it's like, there's no one is boring, everyone's interesting, everyone's got something to tell you. But the question is whether you can get it out of them and actually get them comfortable enough to share it.
Some people are really, Gaz is really good at doing interviews as well, because he pulls stuff out, people that I couldn't do.
Yeah.
So, there's a trick to it, and it's just.
Can you think of any great disasters that you've had? Because I can think of one. What happened 5 minutes before the Synth and Pedal Expo opened, Nick?
Oh yes. Well, that was a good one. So we use road mics, which you click on to various things. I think mine was probably on this, which is a magnetic plate. So I have it here, so that I always know where it is, and I just I picked my bag up, and we were stood by the waterside, and the light bounced in a beautiful arc and just dropped straight into the water. But there are other things. There are. I'm trying to think of anything that's a real disaster. It's dropped.
Yeah,
it's not just dropped. The whole thing's broken. But we bring spares. Where we can, there are spares. So now I have spares
You technically didn't on that occasion, however, Rode microphones were exhibiting at that show.
It's just, yeah, the
Pitch
picture
doing
is on
six
the
shows.
is there, you weren't there.
Very soft. Can you talk a bit about, like, you've been to many shows, you've been to shows for over a 30-year period, and of course, like, you're making YouTube videos, and that, I think, is the sort of, you think about the importance of YouTube and the danger of YouTube to shows is, I would argue, also as a person who makes YouTube videos, that has potentially a damaging effect, because there's an argument that you don't need shows to launch products. And so my question is, what do you see as the sort of the role of shows, and how are shows important now?
It's interesting you say that, because I think everybody perhaps thinks, oh, like for instance now, feels like maybe it's in the descendancy, nobody's interested. But last year, we had a massive number of views, many more than I expected. And I think it's down to the sense of an event. So people gravitate towards something happening somewhere and having access to that. And even if the thing is maybe, now it's a lot more corporate and businessy focused or whatever, but still, it's still got this sort of slightly, hailed as a magical show that, people want to, it's a big international show. And obviously this place, the same, people really respond to that. And I think this is very different, because this is more of a community-based thing, and everybody's kind of a lot more. They're not here. They're obviously here to sell stuff, but it's not like. And you don't come up to people and they say, "How's your show been?" And they said, "I've been in the back room with back-to-back meetings for 5 days. I haven't even seen the light." That doesn't happen here, or at least it shouldn't do. If it ever does, then you'll know that it's time to stop, right? So yeah, it's down to. I think shows have an important thing. I think the important thing about doing shows also is to try and bring in music and the end result of what the music gear makes, so that there's a vibe about it, that people enjoy that. If things get too corporate or too expensive or too difficult, then it tends to kill the magic.
Yeah. What do you think about the sort of role of being as the kind of synth video maker that you are, like, which is to say a reviewer? Like as I said in my thing, it's like I think you are different to most people. That you do what I consider, for having worked in the industry for 10 years, and I was sending stuff to Sound on Sound and Future Music, and you're doing their types of reviews, and you're one of the only video people that I know that work that way. And what do you think about your role as a sort of reviewer and how
it becomes increasingly more complicated to do the balance of what you might be aiming for commercially, what you might be aiming for editorially. It's difficult. It's all more complicated, and the rise of YouTube and influencers and other people who are doing their thing, and the different ways that they do it makes everything different. So, I mean, I feel sometimes that that we have become somewhat established, right, just because of our longevity. But I like to think that maybe there's room for that. It's just, you don't want to be the last one.
No.
And then when that's gone, it's like the last magazine closes.
Yeah. Well, because you literally have to keep the lights on in a way that I think is harder. You have to like book ads and do it in a traditional media way.
Maybe not so much, but it becomes harder to navigate. Those are the things that people don't tend to think. And also, you get like with burnout. It's like you review 5 subtractive monosynths in a row, and it's like maybe I don't want to look at the next one. For a bit, I need a bit of time. To sort of fall in love with the idea of another ladder filter.
This begs the question of what's an underrated synth gem that you've reviewed in the last 30 years?
Oh goodness.
I know.
That's a killer. I mean, you've asked me at a show where, for those of you you were at a show, of course you know what it's like. It's like when your short-term memory buffer has been decreased so that you don't remember anything. And I've learned how to reserve a little bit so that I don't lose all my equipment, and I know where the room is and how to get to the hotel. But apart from that, I don't retain that information. And also, things go past. There are many, and they change for various different reasons. Yeah. And I think the only thing that I would say is, if a synth has charisma, you sort of know it. Yeah. And I hope that I can convey that when I'm reviewing it, that people feel the same way. Because one thing that I find very interesting about reviewing synthesizers is, I might think a synth is, it's alright. But if I just happen to come up with like one killer riff in the review, people go, what a great synth that was. And it's like, no, if you listen to what they said, I didn't say it was a great synth. I like the bass line I made, or whatever it may be. And that is often what is remembered, which is really interesting. So I think that the presentation is very key to how it's perceived.
final question then. Nick, you can't do this forever. What is your succession plan? Do you have a succession plan to some extent?
Getting great people involved, Ed, you've taken him away from me, Andreas, so that's all right, but I have to get a proper job. Just bring more people on board so that perhaps I don't have to be the only face.
Yeah.
But hopefully it keeps the vibe and all the other stuff going on. That's the plan. I mean, I'm not sort of. I've been self-employed my entire life, so I don't have this kind of career path. I'm thinking when I get to this age, I'm going to go to the caravan in Tenby and holiday in Spain, and that's it. But so I don't want to stop. I just don't. I know I can't do this every year for the rest of my life, but I can do some of it.
Well, Nick, from myself and everyone, for 30 years, well done.
We're aware it's the first night for everyone, so we don't want to keep you all night long. Let's just have one more big round of applause for Nick Bat and Andy.